Now, joining us to talk about the ECB giving Greek banks liquidity and also about the US Fed raising interest rates is Nico Els. He's a fixed income fund manager with Ashburton Investments. Nico, thank you for making the time to join us. Let's start off in Europe. 900 million euros. That's the number that everybody is talking about. Again, should this be understood to be Super Mario coming to the rescue?
Yeah, no, thanks. So everybody's following the ECB quite closely because, I mean, as you all know, the European banks have, Greek banks have been closed for over 2 weeks now. So the big issue is now that the Greek Parliament has voted through that they are going to go for the austerity measures. So the ball is almost down the court of the Europeans as to how can they provide liquidity to open up these banks again so that the consumers can go and draw money again. So the 900 million in the ELA, or that emergency liquidity assistance, that was announced today is just maybe the start of, let's say, the third bailout program that's due.
Well, we were saying that they were going to not let Greece leave whatever happened, and that appears to be what's happened. Who can we trust now? Who still has credibility? Not the Greek government. The Greek voters said, what happened to the no vote? It's actually worse than if we'd voted yes. Yeah. The IMF has switched around. The ECB has switched around. Who's got credibility here?
I mean, that's a great question, and I think the Germans are very upset about it as well. And I think Angela Merkel has a couple of times said that, look, there's a trust that has broken down, and we need to be ensured that we can trust you guys. So I think it's going to be a long and difficult process. You know, even the 900 million ELA that was announced tonight still needs to go through the parliaments of the other countries, of the 28 European nations. And that's also not going to be easy. So I think there's still a lot of uncertainty with regards to the whole process, what's going to take shape.
Well, Twitter's been alive all day, Nico. Here's one that comes from Harry Leslie Smith. He says, when Draghi speaks, it's like listening to Titanic's navigator 5 minutes before the iceberg was sighted because it's the certainty of ignorance. Now, here's one person who's not buying into the Super Mario narrative. How do you react to something like that?
Look, I think the important thing for the financial markets are clearly he stated that he would like the Greeks to be in the European Union. We must remember from South Africans' point of view and from the financial markets that Greek is only about 2.5% of the European GDP number. So it's not a massive amount of number. I think the problem becomes when there's contagion in the markets, and then it upsets the market. And I think Draghi, from his point of view, he's going to try his best to prevent contagion taking place. You know, the politicians must decide what they can do. That's not in Draghi's or the ECB's hands. But from his point of view, he would like stability. He would like to keep them in the European Union as long as possible. I
saw one of the English commentators today saying it's actually impossible for Greece to do what they wanted to do. It's not a question of being willing or trying hard. It's actually impossible.
Well, I think that's the key thing, and that's why the vote probably went through. I think there was about 64 people who didn't vote it through. They're probably going to have to reshuffle and find a new government. But I think the other road was just more dreadful than this one. You know, it's going to be a long build-up in a long road ahead, and it's going to remain difficult for a long time to come.
Quick one on the Fed before we wrap up our conversation. Yellen in Congress for 2 days. What is the most significant thing that came out of her testimony?
I think the most important message is that we are a step closer to the Fed hiking rates. I think the market is a bit swayed between September and November, but I think the main message that's coming out there is, look, prepare for US Fed hikes.
That is Nico Els. Thanks to him for joining us.